Europe and Asia are fighting over the top spot at the IMF. Many expect the U.S., the IMF's largest shareholder, to back tradition and favor a European chief. Our next guest says that French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde is clearly the best person for the job. Also says, though, that time is of the essence. Jacob Kirkegaard is with us now. He is a research fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Jacob, thanks so much for being with us this morning. When should a decision be made, or basically what's the last possible day that everybody can put this decision off to? I mean, number one and number two spots need to be named.
Yeah, I mean, I think speed is very clearly at the essence, which in this case, in my opinion, means probably about a month, no more than 6 weeks, because as you said earlier, John Lipsky, the number two at the IMF, is scheduled to step down in August. And I think it's very important that you have the appearance, at least, of two separate selection processes, so that it's not one stitch up together where quite likely it's going to end up with a European at the top and another U.S. Appointee as number two. But it's important that the appearance is of two separate ones, which requires that the MD be chosen expeditiously.
And also, I imagine as well that Lipsky doesn't seem too much like a lame duck if he does have to make some decisions between now and then.
Yeah, no, I don't particularly worry about that, actually, because there is a tradition of having acting managing directors at the IMF. And at the end of the day, much of the staff level at the IMF is not done by the MD, who basically obviously takes sort of more strategic decisions. So in the short term, I don't worry too much about John Lipsky being a lame duck.
Now, together, the U.S. and the European countries have a voting majority. Do you agree that the U.S. seems to be leaning towards another European candidate?
I think it is likely that the U.S. is going to end up supporting Christine Lagarde, but I don't think it's a done deal just yet. I mean, by now it seems pretty clear that the Europeans, are coalescing and basically all falling in behind Christine Lagarde. But the real question is, what support does Christine Lagarde have outside Europe? Because I think it'll be absolutely crucial for the appearance of not just another European, that Christine Lagarde has significant support outside of Europe. And once that is clear, I think the United States will throw its support behind her as well, and that will seal the deal.
So, Jacob, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that she does get the job?
I think by now we're probably at a 7 or 8.
Okay, all right. Now, her outstanding qualifications aside, I mean, is there a risk to the institution of the IMF if another European, and not necessarily Christine Lagarde, is named? Does that seem like a slap in the face to emerging markets?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Christine Lagarde is one of my personal favorites for the job because she is undoubtedly a policy heavyweight. She's well respected, certainly in Europe, but also broadly among the G20 nations. And, and of course, she has the added advantage when you want to project an image for the IMF as an institution under transition, that she would be the first female head of an institution or a global institution like the IMF. So she's a first-rate candidate, and anything short of that simply won't cut it anymore for a European
UK's Gordon
candidate.
Brown would be depressing.
Yeah, I don't think the UK, Gordon Brown, or frankly any other European candidate at this point in time will do it. It has to be Christine Lagarde or a senior heavyweight policymaker from an emerging market.
So let's talk about then your top picks. I mean, if the person does come from emerging markets, who is your top pick?
Well, I think if it is an emerging market person, my personal favorite would be one from Asia, and among those probably the Singaporean finance minister, because he basically has a personal profile that I think would allow him to command broad support in Asia.
Okay, I mean, we've heard some comments as well. I know Thailand's finance minister saying yesterday, there's no logic that the IMF continue to be run. You know, the world has come a long way, and I know even someone from India weighing in saying, oh, well, when there's an Asian crisis, does that mean there should be an Asian managing director? When there's an African crisis, does that mean there has to be an African managing director? So it does seem as if the EMS countries are more and more vocal. Okay, if the Singaporean candidate does not get it, Jacob, who is your next pick?
Probably the Indian name that has been mentioned, Montek Ahluwalia. He has a lot of experience. He's well known among the G20 memberships. He would be an excellent candidate, in my opinion. There are others as well. Trevor Manuel from South Africa, former finance minister there. Augustin Carstens, the current central bank chief of Mexico. So there are several. But the question that all of the emerging markets candidates face is, can they basically collect unanimous or near unanimous support from the emerging markets? Because without that kind of support, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to defeat Christine Lagarde in the race.
All right. She's a favorite. 70% chance, according to Jacob Kirkegaard. Thanks very much joining us there. Research fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics.